down at 198 was called the New Fork Drainage. East Fork. That's our land. 18 months later, we got a heads up. You might want to check where that number is. All of a sudden, it was number 2. And we had feds all over. Do you think they got it? No. Gosars and Neromostes, which are my families, know how to fight. And we used some unconservative or some different kinds of people to help fight this. And we actually beat the Interior Department. Once again, I know how to fight. Number 2, that's what it's going to take. I have now lived in Flagstaff for over 24 years, my whole professional life. I have chosen to live here. I have met my wife. I have 3 children. I built my own house when they told me I couldn't do it. There's a pattern here, right? Don't tell me you can't do it. And I hope that's the attitude you have. Because this next election isn't about one person in District 1. It's about District 1. Every single one of you. And what you're going to have is somebody that understands the system and how to get your answer, the right answer. I've been doing it. For the last 4 years, I sat on the American Dental Association's Council on Government Affairs. I went up early on my own nickel. I walked, I learned, I saw. I've actually been pushing conservative healthcare. We need some reform, but it needs to be you hold it. You need it. And you have to start with true insurance reform. You talked about the insurance bill. I want to know which bill is it. One of 1800? Because this bill morphs because it cites the Secretary of Health and Human Services over 1,700 times to her discretion or his discretion. Tell me what part of that bill is. You don't know what they're going to think. This bill's an atrocity. You have 2 things that you're going to constitutionally stand on. Individual mandates and on exchanges. And you better do it at the local level, the state level, federal level, executive, judiciary, and legislative. There's your battle plan, folks. Because what the government is doing is growing. That's its asset. But it's growing, and that's its Achilles heel. You attack it everywhere. I want you to step back in time and see how this was thought out. Who remembers the Freedom of Choice Act in 2008? Which governor jumped in at the last minute to defuse it? Jenna Napolitano. She's also on the cabinet. They knew this was coming. If you have that constitutional amendment, which would have been the only one in the country at the time, they have a problem. Boy, were they bright. So this election cycle, you can get on that horse and vote that in. She ain't around to take that on now. And there's going to be about 17 other states that have that as well. It's not a pretty sight, folks. It's not about our kids. It's about us. Because this hits home now. And that's why I'm here. I think we need to know, we need to understand, and we need to mobilize. And we have to do it constructively. Somebody else was talking about your presentation, ma'am, I think is wonderful. I'm a capitalist, and so I'll even promote this. You have to understand what you're going against to set you free and understand how to debate it and break it down. That's my homework assignment. If you haven't read, you better read it. Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You better read it. It sets you free. Folks, America's calling. It's going to take some unconventional ideas. It's going to take some unconventional willpower and work ethic. I'm one of those people. No one has ever told me you can't do it and got away with it. Even our state attorney general's office. I took them on myself in an open meetings law in violation of legislation.